This is my audience. Their names are
Naomi,
Helena,
Sunniva.
awesome. We're going to be talking about how education is different in developing countries versus America. Education varies all around the world, no matter, even if you are in America. Different sides of the country have varying education rules. However, the difference between education in America versus developing countries is extreme. America, however, can use some of the things they know to implement into developing countries to help them improve. America can help developing countries to train leaders and teachers. They can provide funding and finance. They can implement rules that have worked in their country in order to help these developing countries succeed and thrive in every area of their education. Education system in America receives a great number of funding every single year from the government. However, education in developing countries does not receive the same amount of funding that America does. According to 10 Barriers to Education, $821 billion was given for the education fund in America in 2013 alone. This number is way more than you would see in developing countries, where only a couple $1,000s are given here and there. The ultimate root of the struggling education system in developing countries is finance. Due to the lack of finance and funding, they're unable to build classrooms that are developed with the right tools, notebooks, workbooks, teachers, and the environment setting. According to the 10 Barriers to Education, there were 130 children per classroom in Malawi last year. This number is far more than it should be, and no child should have to learn in that kind of environment. This environment is not good for children to learn in because it not only is uncomfortable, but it plays into their development. Every child develops their brain differently, but also when they're learning, they need to be in an environment that they are able to learn in. Due to the lack of funding, they're not able to purchase textbooks or notebooks. 3.5% of the entire grade 6 had a textbook in Chad. Every 11 primary students had one textbook, and there was one math book per 13 children in Cameroon, according to the 10 Barriers of Education. How is a child supposed to learn when they only have one textbook? Developing countries have school fees, whereas in America, school fees are free if you attend a public school. In some countries, school fees are free. However, you must purchase your notebook, uniform, and exams. For some families, this is not possible. They're unable to pay the amount, therefore their children are unable to go to school. Teachers are not being paid by the government. They have lack of qualifications. Therefore, the children are not succeeding to the best of their ability. With America helping this situation, they could send university students to developing countries to help train teachers. According to the UN, 69 million teachers are required by 2030 in developing countries. In 2016, the Global Partnership for Education trained 238,000 teachers. However, those numbers don't add up. We still need over 68 million teachers to be trained by 2030 in developing countries. Another reason developing countries struggle with their education system is due to conflict and risk. 50 million children were affected by conflict, and 27 million are not in school, according to the 10 Barriers to Education around the world. 75 million students around the world do not go to school due to it being unsafe in their community. In America, schools have to be safe. There's certain security that is required, and also schools are required to be paid by the government. Public schools are required to be free. They offer reduced price lunch to children who are in need, and they pay for their notebooks. The Department of Education was established in America in 1865. Along with the reduced price lunch and notebooks, public schools also provide transport and academic assistance. Redefining education in the developing world suggested that combining traditional content with critically important financial, wealth, and administrational skills will help developing countries succeed in their education. This will be called the School of Life. They will move from achievement-based works into a positive motivation. Through training leaders and teachers, helping with funding and finance, implementing rules, developing countries will be able to succeed in their education system. Thank you.